Welcome out there, Rebel Land. This is Goblin Marine with a pre-cap preview of REL Division 5F. It's a fresh division. So I'm a fairly new coach to Rebel. I've been playing in REL Season 10. Season 11 is going to be my second season. I have an Underworld team, the Boogie Miners, that are in Division 4A this season. I had a rough first season of it, but I've managed to get up into the 1400s in TV. Got those killers coming along, and my Goblin's going nicely. I'm also in another league where I also play Underworld. I'm a stunty coach at heart, but when I got to be serious and competitive, I do tend to pull out Underworld because, let's face it, it's not really worth leveling a regular Goblin, and Underworld Goblins actually get better. So that's me. I will be doing these mostly on my own. I may have a co-host once in a while. I may or may not have time to watch all of the games, but I will do my best. If there's any critiques or suggestions that you guys might have for these, let me know. You can reach me as Goblin Marine on Discord. Just feel free to contact me if you have any critiques or criticisms or things you'd like to see in these. So we're going to hop right into this. I have, like I said, a fresh division of 5F. We'll start with Gret Seats, the Hollywood All-Stars human team. 1,000 TV even. He's got a thrower, a catcher, 4 linemen, 4 blitzers, an ogre, 3 rerolls, no Apo. So this seems like a pretty bog standard human start. It's a good start, you know. You, instead of saving 20 TV for an Apo and starting without the catcher, you go ahead and grab a catcher. The biggest argument against the catchers is strength 2, but movement 8 and dodge is good. So, like to see him get his development, see where he goes with this team. It's human, so there's a lot of options. Like to see him level up the mountain. So, got some interesting Hollywood names here. Anthony Hop Skip Jumpkins. So, hopefully, we'll get to use some puns later this season. Next up is Ass Suckers SIT Kislev Circus team at 1140. So, this must be a greenhorn team. So they're Kislev. So, okay, now this guy's got some levels here. So the only levels he took on Kislev, which is hard to start with no skills, like they have no blocking skills out of the box. The only skill ups he's managed to get are box cars for strength ups. This guy's obviously playing the long game. You know, if he were playing to win now, right now, those would probably be blocking skills of some sort. But those strengths are going to make this team amazing once he levels up once or twice more with them. 4 rerolls and Apo. He's got 2 blitzers and a catcher. The rest are linemen. I'm not real familiar with Kislev. I'm not sure where that puts you as a start. Obviously, taking off these strengths puts him still at 1140. So maybe he's got that in the Apo. And fan factor, that would put him down under 1,000. So how many games does this team have? This team's got 4 games. So it's gotten a little bit of development. A draw, 2 losses, and a win. Picking up a win against what looks to be a Nurgle team from the icon. So he's got a little bit of development on these guys. That strength will pay off, but it's really a long game. That doesn't really make him that much more consistent in the short run. He really needs some blocking skills, obviously. I'm sure he knows that. We'll see where this goes. It's going to be an interesting start with those boys jumping everywhere in that high strength. It makes them a lot more dangerous, actually, on sacking. Just to have that strength 4 to get the 2-die blitz on a lone player, or to be able to get a 2-die blitz in a cage if you can mark the corners and there's no guard, that makes a huge efficiency jump in his ability to sack the ball. So that's a very dangerous team right out of the gate for this season. We next have Mickey D's All Day, Mice Who Entice, Skaven team. So 1060, this must also be a Greenhorn team with 3 games. So he's got a block gutter runner and a Mighty Blow lineman. There we go. That's a statement there. So obviously the 2 Storm Vermin are going to try and become the best killers they can. That lineman is headed on a similar path. So we'll see what happens with that this season. It is a Skaven line rat, so it's prone to dying quickly and in droves. But with Mighty Blow, I'm willing to bet that one's going to be protected. So the gutter runners, he's almost got a level on a second one. One of the storm vermin's close to leveling, so I'd like to see him quickly pick up some skills. I think he's within range of easily skilling this gutter runner. You know, passes are quite easy. That storm vermin might be a little trickier depending on what he does, but if he can pull a pass with that storm vermin, get that vanity pass if he doesn't need to score again, then he could easily level those two up and get some more skills on this team and take a quick lead in ability to do things, really. Next up, Ayaya, or Guilford's Ayaya, the Underworld team. So Underworld, like I've said, it's my favorite team. It's a team that I tend to play all the time. So he's at 1020. It looks like that's mostly the fan factor. He's got a draw and a win under his belt. So that's a good start for Underworld if you can pick that up. So he's got both MVPs and looks like he hasn't cased anybody. So he's scored twice and gotten 2 MVPs in those games. And if he got any other SPP, those players have cycled, which is not uncommon with Underworld. He's got 2 goblins close to leveling, 3 goblins that have SPP. 2 of them have MVPs. So with those, 2 heads is obviously the first choice on a level up. We'll see where he goes from there. Maybe he'll roll Agi up. He's got a Skaven Blitzer that's halfway to a level, and that's going to make a marked increase in his efficiency as a team once he gets that Blitzer with either Tackle or Mighty Blow. This division doesn't seem... They've got a lot of bash as usual, so Mighty Blow is always going to be the right choice there. So, you know, he's right there with everyone else who's down at 1,000 and kind of just started. Lizardmen. This is Star Gamers Billionaire Playboys Lizard Team. 980. So they're fresh out the box. They got no history on them. Looks bog standard, right? You got your Crocs. You got all your Saurus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I counted right. And you've got your Stunty Skinks. So lizards are lizards. They're fast. They're strong, but not at the same time. Always competitive. Talk Show Terror. Our Name is Legion's Necromantic team. Also right out of the box. So he's going with a 2 werewolf, 2 fleshy, 2 white start. So he's passed on all the ghouls. He's got 2 of the team rerolls. I really prefer to see this start because I don't feel like the ghouls are that necessary. I feel like once you pick them up, they'll level fast enough on their own, and they're more likely to cycle, so you really want to get the regen positionals early so that you can get them leveling up. All right. All right, next up, we have K Bobby's Chaos Canadians, the Chaos Dwarf team. Now, I'm sorry. Nothing against you, and if you're Canadian, you're probably a nicer person than me, but you're playing Chorfs, so you are automatically the worst person ever. Okay, moving on. Bog standard, again, 2 bulls, 5 blockers, 4 hobgoblins, 3 rerolls. We'll see where this goes. There's so many ways to take these teams. Do you take Claw Palm, or do you take Claw Palm? Do you carry with the bull, or do you claim you're going to carry with the hobgoblin and then carry with the bull anyway? We'll see where this goes. It's a Chorf team. It's going to do Chorf team things and try and crush the rest of this division under his feet. We will see if he's able to or if they can resist. Next up, Rick and Roll Rats, Frost's Skaven team. So there's 2 Skaven in this division. This is a fresh team, unlike the other one. He took the Rat Ogre start. So he's got 2 rerolls, Rat Ogre, 2 Storm Vermin, 4 Gutter Runners, Thrower, 3 Linemen. I like big guys. Being a stunty player, you might say, you would. And, you know, my troll always makes me rage. But I like the Rat Ogre. I prefer wild animal big guys, honestly. Because the wild animal, you keep your tackle zone. So if you get guard on this guy, and he's already got tail, he starts getting to where you can have him do things. You can try to do things, and there's not really as much a penalty for not being able to do it. Once he gets his Storm Vermin leveled up to kill, we'll see if he keeps the Rat Ogre. It's going to depend on how things go, I think, but I like the big guy. I like the Rat Ogre. As long as you know how to play with the big guy and are willing to tailor your game to the big guy's ability to do things rather than expecting him to do things, they work out. He's only AV8, but this isn't Achilles division yet. It will be soon, but it's not yet. So that's not too much of a liability. Next up, the Bony Boys, El Sad's Khemri team. Gotta love the Khemri. Also fresh. 4 Tomb Guardians, 2 Blitz Raws, 5 Skeletons, a Throw Raw, and 2 Rerolls. Not much to say about this except, standard Agi 2 things. So, good old 75% to pick up the ball. This is really going to depend. I don't know anything about these players, so we'll see how quickly he's able to get skills up, how he's able to play without skills, and really how successfully he's able to be. Stinger Security, Doug Peterson's Dark Elf team. Right at 1,000 TV.
I can't hear the movie.
Also fresh out of the box. 4 Blitzer, 1 Runner start. So, the Blitzer starts on Dark Elves are certainly more reliable, I would say, than the alternatives. But the Witch is one of the reasons, like if you're playing Dark Elves, I guess there's 2 camps. There's Dark Elf players that play Dark Elves because they're so good. And there's Dark Elf players who play Dark Elves because they love witches and elves are good in general. I feel that I personally fall in the camp of if I'm going to play Dark Elves, I want the witch. Just like if I'm going to play Woodies, I really want the War Dancers. It's just an opinion and it has nothing to do with whether it's efficient or effective or not. The Blitzers are certainly more effective right out of the box with their cost and what you get on the team. But this is certainly one of the standard starts. Looked for him to run up the score and do lots of vanity passes early and get these guys up and running. So I believe there's a bunch of other teams in this division that haven't yet accepted their tickets. Let me look that up real quick. It looks like there is a Lizardman team that's missing, an Undead team that's missing, another Lizardman team that's missing, and an Orc team that's missing. So I will see if I can find them on REL. So at least right now, I'm not able to find those teams on Rebel.net. It looks like they have to have accepted their tickets and kicked off the league before it'll show up on the website. I'm not able to find those teams in the client either. So I will just have to talk about which teams are those. There is Oixel Bodo's Chula's Lizardman team is missing. Squad Ghouls, Hoy Wolf's Undead team is also missing. Joe's Jimmy's, Joe Bama's Lizardman team is missing. And then Blood Hunter Clan, Freedom to Game 21's Orc team is missing. So I'll have to remember to cover those next time. So there's a lot of Lizardman teams in this, and that tends to give later in the season. That'll give the Necromantic. Well, the Necromantic have an advantage over them with Claw if they can get the blocks off at the Wolves. The Chorfs, if they pull the Lizardmen at the end of the season when they've got some Claw Palm and Guard going, might be able to give them a hard time. The Skaven teams, if they roll enough doubles to pull Claw on things, might be able to give them a run for their money. Otherwise, the Lizards are going to have a bit of a field day here. They're just good all over. And I don't know much about those coaches, so 3 Lizard Man teams means that there's a good chance that one of them will perform well. There's also 2 Skaven teams. I would look for one of them to perform well, and it's hard to discount Dark Elves. So I would guess one of the Skaven teams is in the top 3, probably one of the Lizard Man teams, and maybe the Dark Elves. If I had to guess, just looking at this, The Orcs also have a shot, but they're not. I don't think the Orcs are as high performing as Dark Elves and Skaven, but they might or displace one of the Lizardman teams. But Necro, if they get up on the power curve fast enough, or if the Chorfs happen to roll some good quick levels somehow, those teams could take off. But they're a little bit slower burn teams in my mind. Whereas the Skaven and the Dark Elf certainly are going to jump out with their Agi 4. So excited to see how this is going to go this season. I hope you all have a good ride with me, and we will see you next time.